What's your darkest secret? At 13 I was having a really bad period for a week that left me in a lot of pain and with heavy bleeding. My mom sat with me the whole week and made sure to keep checking up on me. Thing was though, I wasn't on my cycle. I was having a miscarriage. I had been pregnant for a good few weeks now, this being the result of a family member having their way with me. I still haven't told anyone, and I have no plans on telling even my closest friend or mom. It's kind of just something I plan on carrying with me to the grave. Edit. Thank you to everyone for their kind words of support. To the people recommending I see a professional, I have been seeing one, and bit by bit I've been opening up. Second, to those saying my mom most likely knew, I honestly doubt she did. I had hidden it pretty well, and my mom was never in the house when I was showing signs due to work. Not to mention, I have a condition that gives me severe pain during my time of the month, so it wouldn't have been silly to assume I was just having a really bad flare up. Sometimes talking about it is like reliving it all over again. I have several things that I am carrying with me to the grave that I just don't plan on telling people about. I don't know your reason for not speaking up, but I hope you're doing well. Hugs. When I was very little, probably around 3-4, I used to play a game with my parents where I'd go to the bathroom and brush my teeth before bed, and when I got to my room they'd pretend to be asleep and I'd find creative ways to wake them up. Being so young, I thought my dad was superhero style indestructible, and in thinking so I decided to try something that would hurt a kid like me but wouldn't harm him at all since he was big. I found a pencil laying on the desk and tried to stab him in the eye with it. Luckily, he was peeking, and stopped me just before I did it. To this day it gives me a sinking feeling in my stomach, thinking about what might have happened. TDR. I almost stabbed my dad in the eye with a pencil while he was pretending to be asleep. That's quite interesting. As a child I lived with my mum who had several problems. She was a prostitute, which I didn't realize at that time. She drank a lot and spent all her money on booze. Sometimes we didn't have enough to eat even for weeks. But I told no one about it because I felt so ashamed. After school I always were going home with friends to get something to eat. Also people started to make fun of me in school because I had to wear the same clothes for weeks, because my mum didn't do the laundry. At some point when I was 15 I figured out where my dad lived, bought a ticket and never looked back. I'm sorry that you went through that. Painful to read, much less experience. I'm glad you found your way out. Be well. When I was in the 9th grade my mom decided she no longer likes women and will be moving on to men. She found this man, I'll call him Bill. At first Bill was alright, he would buy me and my brother, he's a year older than me, pizza when he came, but then that stopped. He would come to our house with expensive food for our mother and nothing for us. All of the food in the kitchen was his dirt. We would have to ask our grandma for money to buy food every day. My mom would leave with him weeks at a time and leave us with no food or money. Me and my brother had no key to our house, so we would leave the back door unlocked to get in, but Bill had a key. He would just walk in the house and wouldn't even speak to me or my brother. Then one day the water got turned off and Bill kept peeing in the toilet, knowing we have to walk down the street to our grandma's house with 2 big kitty litter buckets to flush the toilet or even brush our teeth, bathe or do anything with water. My mom kept lying to my GMA saying it was sewer problems. She would get money to pay the water bill but never pay it. Then one day the lights got turned off and that was the final straw. Me and my brother packed up and moved with my grandma. That happened more than 10 years ago, but I still get sad remembering crying myself to sleep at night or having sleep for dinner. Now I have my own apartment. I have a wonderful fiance and an amazing son. My brother is living with me now. I'm trying to get him on his feet considering he has medical conditions. It's been taking time, but we're getting there. Your grandma is the coolest person. Depression. As much as it shouldn't be a secret or something to be ashamed of, the truth is, as an adult man with a career, you have to hide that shit, because nobody is going to put up with it. Nobody will hire someone who just shuts down for months on end and can't get shit done. Nobody will hire someone who need a mental health day every other week, and even if they did, the guilt of not pulling my weight would make my depression worse. So I became a workaholic. My entire life revolves around not fucking up my career at the cost of everything else, because I don't have the energy to maintain a career, a relationship, and keep my life together. At work I'm perfectly organized, professional, friendly, and a team player. At home I have a small mountain of cardboard in my room I just haven't gotten around to getting rid of. Ordering basically every meal. Haven't cleaned my bathroom in 6 months. Am overdue for an oil change by a few hundred miles. And probably won't do my taxes until I absolutely can't put it off anymore. Because I'd rather stare at the wall. Me too. Not just as in I understand. But you could be describing me. I'm so sorry this is happening to you too. When I was about 8, my dad got wrongly diagnosed with a couple different psychological disorders. His psychiatrist put him on loads of meds where I didn't even feel like he was there anymore. He was on cloud 9 247. So, that leads to this. My dad remarried to my stepmom, who had 3 children. 2 boys and 1 girl. I was 9 at the time. My brothers were 5 and 13 and my sister was about 7. My oldest stepbrother regularly molested and raped my younger brother and sister. This problem carried into a lot of other things, molestation between my 2 youngest siblings, as well as acting up. My little brother used to run around the house throwing shit. Yes, literally his own shit. He would do it as bad behavior, but would mainly do it when my oldest brother was chasing him to molest him. I'd wake up in the middle of the night to him touching them, telling them to be quiet. To this day, I just remember the look on his face and in his eyes while in the moment. I will never forget it. He was eventually put in juvie. Also, my stepmom used to make me sleep outside on the ground. If I fell asleep inside, she would wake me up, drag me by whatever limb she could hold onto and put me outside. No blankets, no pillow, nothing 100 degrees or 25 degrees. Didn't matter. I was often locked out of the house when my dad was gone to work also. The minute he left, my stepmom would just make my life living hell. Physical and emotional abuse were typical. I'd bring up the medication my dad was on because he was a damn good dad and my best friend. And in the right mind, he would have never allowed that. He eventually went to a different doctor, got on different meds and left her. But, damn, that shit was hell. I still remember the day it finally broke. My dad and stepmom were screaming at the top of their lungs and my dad told her that he was gonna leave her and told me to get my stuff. I jumped on the kitchen counter, got right in her face and screamed fuck you. Holy shit, I'm so sorry, that's is terrible. Good luck in your healing process. I'm probably going to hell for this, but imagining a young kid yelling fuck you to his abusive stepmom makes me immeasurably happy and made me laugh. Maladaptive daydreaming. It's a bitch, ain't it? Just going about your day when you're suddenly and involuntarily thrust into an entire world in your head. To the outside world I probably look catatonic. I think what sucks the most is how little research has been done about it. To my knowledge, nobody knows why we're like this, though in my case it's almost certainly trauma related. But the lack of clear answers is aggravating. I've never successfully put a tampon in. Never masturbated. Genitals, even my own, seriously gross me out. I don't know why. I had similar issues and the tampon thing came from vaginismus for me. I went to a sexuality therapist, gyno, and eventually physical therapist who really helped me with that. I imagine regular therapy would help as well. From there, my genitals became much less a source of shame and discomfort and more something that I felt I understood and had control of. For masturbating, and I'm not totally sure if this is a healthy coping mechanism, I typically would just do it through my underwear and just clitoral stimulation. It was a way to get sexual satisfaction without really having to interact with my genitals while I was uncomfortable with them. Now that things are a lot better, that's still my go-to method. BC I prefer clit stimulation to penetration, and I am too lazy to get up and wash my hands after. LOL. Probably not as dark as most people here, but here goes. A few years back I was dating someone and we were through a rough patch at the time. Against my better judgment, I decided to find someone to have sex with. I signed up for a dating app called Meet Me. After looking through the profiles I found a woman whose every post was looking for someone to cuddle with to hit her up, and she invites me over to her apartment. I get there and immediately realize that she was not who she made herself out to be online, and it was pretty clear she had some form of severe mental disability. I started to have second thoughts about everything, and she realized how uncomfortable I was and said I could leave if I wanted to. So I left her there with her crying. Felt like shit for that. A week later I noticed that she was still posting asking people to come over to her place. And I kept thinking to myself, she is going to invite someone over that could do her harm. Fast forward to last year. I'm in a new relationship and things are better for me overall. One day there was a double murder done by someone who had a psychotic break. I watched the news about the victims and one of them was the girl from before. She had invited him over and he killed her with a hammer. I later found out she had a baby with someone else since we last met. I think about her often and I feel great shame for it. Don't, mate. I understand you may in some way feel responsible for it, but you shouldn't because you weren't. I mean this in the most sincerest way and I understand it's easier said than done, but you must let it go and just carry on with your life. Don't feel shame and don't let it hold you down. If you enjoyed watching this video, please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe to our channel for more video updates.